What is up, everyone? Happy Friday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening if you're watching the replay. We are working our legs today. We have a lower body strength session, and we're also doing some conditioning at the very end. Yay! But you already knew that because that has been the program that we've been following. This nice strength and sweat on Fridays. So, equipment wise, I have my shoes on, and that is because we are going to be doing some higher impact stuff throughout the workout as well as specifically towards the end. Now, of course, I have options for those of you who do not jump, low impact options, but you still might want this supportive footwear. Dumbbells, my 8-pounders, and then I have my 2 loop bands on my mat, and that is pretty much all I'm going to be using today. Body weight, of course. If you don't have any of the above, you can always sub in whatever you've got, whether it's a household weighted item, or maybe you just have a small towel instead of a band because it's just all you've got, and that's okay. So let's get you guys started on this body weight warm-up, which starts at the very front of our mat. We're gonna stand hip width apart with our hands down by our sides, and I'll step back into a lunge and send up that same arm up and over top of my head. So I'll alternate right side and left side, and we're doing 20 reps of these, alternating 10%. Some of the wet. So you guys can get started here, trying to get down to 90 degrees. We'll feel a little bit of an opening throughout the hip in the front and the side because we are reaching slightly over top of the center. Yes. All right, so let's get in 20 of these. And we are alternating right side, left side. There we go. Loosen up the hips, the legs, chest, all of it. Once you guys are done that one, we are going to go into our infamous leg swings. So we're going to be swinging our leg forward and backward. We can go forward and backward is 1, and we'll do 10. So I'm holding on over here so I don't have to worry about balance. And I'm trying to limit too much movement in my body. There'll be a little bit, but not too much. We shall do 10, and then we're going to turn, face whatever we're holding, and have that lateral movement. So I'm going side to side now. Same thing there and back is 1. And we are doing 10. So we'll go through these ones, and then you guys can switch sides. We'll back to the other leg, not kicking anything in our way. And you can always hold on with 2 hands if you have space for that as well. So there and back 10, and then we shall turn in, and then we'll go sideways. So we'll go through these ones, taking our time with them. So winging out our legs. Okay. Next one, squat stance in our feet. So we're going to get ourselves a little bit wider than our hips and our feet with our toes slightly pointed out to the sides. We'll be sitting down into a squat as low as we are comfortable with. So ideally, you'd like to get your hands as close to the floor, ankles as possible. I'm gonna hold my shins for this first one. I'll straighten out my legs, bend the legs, and then before I stand up, I'm going to reach those arms above my head and then bring them back down to the top. And that was 1. We're going to do 10 of these. So straighten, bend, arms up. Already had to think about that a little bit, messing myself up, getting that coordination, a little bit of mobility that it takes to keep those arms straight, strong above our head as we stand up. So as I'm going down, again, I'm straightening, getting a bit of a stretch through the hamstrings. You definitely should not get your legs straight. They will definitely still be bent, but they might just be more or less bent than someone else. It's just whatever feels good. It shouldn't feel painful. It shouldn't feel like you're pulling anything. If that's happening, you're probably straightening out those legs too much, or maybe you're sitting too low. I've even had people do this one with their hands on their knees. If they have sensitive knees, it's just safer and a better idea. Preventative. All right, so we'll go through 10 of those. Next one, we're going back into our lunges. So we're going to step back into a lunge, and then I'm now going to extend and kick that leg up. Hoya. We're going through 10 of these total per side, And I'm trying to, at the top there, get both my legs as straight as possible. Now you'll see my bottom one kind of wants to bend, so it's probably kicking up a little bit too high because we want to avoid that from happening. So if you're feeling like that knee is bending on the bottom, we just won't kick as high. So we'll go through 10, and then you guys can switch, whoop, balance, and do 10 on the other side. This is very hard to do, facing that way, trying to talk this way. So we'll go through, sound effects optional, we'll go through 10 and 10 per side. Loosen it up. So we're getting a nice dynamic stretch through the hips, through the hamstrings, back of the legs. Again, working with whatever mobility, whatever range of motion you have. We want to try to keep that bottom leg straight. Okay, so once you guys are done those ones, the kicking lunges, we're going to get ourselves down to the floor for 2 activation style exercises. So the first one is for your hips, your butt, your glutes. We're going to do that hip circle. So we'll get into our all-4 position. Before I do anything, I want to kind of crunch up slightly. So I'm not arching my back like this. I want my back to be straight. And then I'm going to bend my feet up like this. If you do want some support for your knees, I find this one can be a little bit tough on the knees, especially if your mat's kind of flimsy like mine. So I might just do that right off the bat. And then what we're going to do is kick the leg up to the side or out to the back like this. And then all the way out to the side like this. That's 1. So back and side, that's 2. We're doing 10 total. Now we've done this one before where we've circled over to that position. Today we want to separate the 2. So we want to extend back, bring it in, and then extend to the side, bring it in, and then that would equal 1, and you're going to do 10 of those per side. So we gotta get to work. So you should feel a lot of work happening in your glutes and the back of your hips. And because we did that little bit of a crunch, we feel it even more. If you didn't do that crunch, you'd be arching your back like this, and we probably start to feel our lower back, which we don't want. So we'll go through those on both sides. 10 and 10. I guess it's kind of a sneaky 20 because it's a 2 for 1. The side and the back is 1. Okay, so take your time with that one, you guys. Once you are done, we're going to want to bring our bands with us into a bridging position on our back. We're not going to use them quite yet. We will want them close because we are going to start off, once we're done this core activation exercise, body weight, no bands involved, we're going to want loop bands with us down here for the first set of our first exercise, which we're going to talk about because it's down on the floor here. So bring these guys out if you have them. If you don't have loop bands, do not worry. We have great options without the loop bands. But ideally, you will want 2 of these today. So if you have 2, bring them out. 1 is just as good as 2. If you literally only have 1 band, that's totally fine. And again, if you don't have any bands, then you're just going to follow along. No bands involved, and do the exact same thing as we do. Okay, so I feel like you are probably good to go. We're going to lay on our back here into a dead bug. So we're on our back, arms up, legs up. We have been at the dead bug before, yesterday, if you guys are here. We're going to take our palm and our knee and squish them together, and then we'll lower those opposite 2, and I'll get you guys going through 10 per side. We're going to use this as a nice core activation exercise. So we're pushing our back down. We have contact and pressure within our hands. Just 10 per side, 1 set total. I know we did 2 on Monday. This is definitely one of my favorite core activation exercises because it is literally foolproof. If you are pushing your back down, if you're creating pressure within your hand and your knee there, you're going to activate your core. So you don't have to think about it. It's never really too hard for people as well. It's a very manageable one that really gets the job done. So I'm selling you on it, I know. But you're doing it anyways. Okay, so we'll go through those just 10 and 10, and we should feel a lot of work happening up in the core. We are going to now grab onto those bands. So what we're going to be doing is a hip bridge with our back on the floor, with the bands, with an abduction, where we're going to be opening our knees up at the top. We are going to pair this with a sumo deadlift, which we will talk about once we're done our first set down here. Now, right off the bat, before we start this off, hip bridge, hip thrust. Similar exercise, not quite the same. The difference is the range of motion. The hip thrust is the one we do with our backs up on the bench, on the chair, on the couch, whatever it is. The hip bridge is me with my back on the floor. Now, you guys probably can think about the difference between those two. This one, we don't move as much. We're on our back, and we push up to here. Whereas if I have my upper back on a chair and I'm going down and up, I have a lot bigger range. So I'm going through more movement than I am on the floor here. So that was my very lengthy way of saying that if you want to make this exercise harder, if you have access to a chair or a bench, feel free to sub in the hip thrust instead of the hip bridge. And now you know the difference between the two. And it's just going to make this a lot harder. Okay, so that was a disclaimer, and that goes for every single set, because you guys are going to do 4 of these, and this is going to be your first one. So let's band up. I'm going to put one band right above my knees. I know this black band, my black pants is not very forgiving, but that's okay, it's there. One band below my knees. So I have one above, one below. I'm going to get myself into that hip bridging position. So squishing our lower back into the floor, have our hands down on the floor to start. Hip width apart in the knees. We'll go up into that hip bridge, and then open up the knees, reset, and then lower down. And then now I'm going to go up, and I'm going to go 1, 2, and then I go down. And then I go up, and I go 1, 2, 3, and I go down. And if you're catching on to this pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we go all the way up over your knees. Fast like this, okay? So you use your own judgment. We're all going to get the benefit of this if you think about it. Okay, nice job, guys. So once we're done that one, you guys can start right now. So again, we want to drive the hips back. As soon as the weight's right above our knees, we bend the knees and push them out to the sides. Staying a little bit higher than our knees. We don't want to be down here. Guys, if you are doing a sumo squat, so you have no weights, you have a band around your knees, or maybe no band on too, we want the hips to get down. And you'll go through 15 reps, these ones, where we're trying to get our butt down, just because we don't have any weights, so we're going to use gravity. Here is that bridge to abduction. It's going to take a long time, and we're going right, we're not taking any rest, okay? So we're going to go right through our deadlifts. Only rest you get is maybe a quick sip of H2O, and then the transition time for you to get back down into your bands, because we know that that takes some time. So on the second set, most of us are going to be okay with just doing one abduction at the top. But if for some reason you want to make this just a little bit harder, and you don't really feel it when you do one, you can do 2. And I know that doesn't sound like a big difference, but it will make a huge difference. And overall, it's going to allow you to be efficient, get through the set, and just get a bit more work in the back of your hips. The other thing we have to make sure of is that we're making strong contact with our lower back first before we lift our hips up. Because if I don't have contact with my back, I'm probably doing this position here with the ribs and the space under there, and then I go up and I'm like this, and then I finish my set and I'm like, why am I feeling my lower back so much? It's because I just put so much stress on it because of that position I had in my ribs and my pelvis. So before we go anywhere, we want to pull our back down. It is so crucial in this one, like the most important. And then now you go through, we want to keep that same feeling so that every time we come down, we're touching our back, not the back of our hips. And so see if you can make that happen with your hips, with your pelvis, so that that lower back's coming into contact. Good job, you guys. So we're going to 8. Remember that. 1, maybe 2 abductions at the top. And then we shall stand up into our second set of the deadlifts. Okay, so again, we are going right into it, you guys. 15 reps. Now, normally, we take some rest when we do these kinds of combinations, the sumo deadlift and the hip thrust, or the hip bridges, whatever it is. Today, we're going for a bit more of like an endurance style in our deadlifts and for our muscles here. So we're trying to just go without necessarily taking as much rest, but we're doing higher rep ranges, which more taps into our like endurance style of training rather than like that strength style of training that the lower, harder rep ranges do, like 8 and a 10 and stuff like that. So hustle is what I'm trying to say when you're transitioning between these exercises so that we can get 2 more sets done within the next 3 minutes, because that is when we should be starting the next part. Nice job. Okay. Let's do it. Nice work, guys. So we'll go through our final set, 2 sets. Give you guys just over 2 minutes left to get through these. Maybe deadlifts, hip thrusts. Oh, yeah. So we talked last week, the week before, a lot about foot positioning. I talked about it a lot in our side lunges, if you guys remember, but also in this deadlift, and how sometimes you really do have to kind of play around with it a little bit. Most important is that your entire foot stays in full contact with the floor throughout the entire set. So on your last set here, because I know you guys probably have one more, if you've already started it, and remember that we started with the hip thrusts. So we're going to actually finish with our final set of deadlifts. On this last set, let's see if we can make stronger contact with our feet. We want to think about 3 points of contact: our big toe, our little toe, and then our heel. Those are always going to be tight onto the floor. So we don't want to be lifting our heels or our toes pretty much any time unless we specify otherwise. And then we want to keep the weight right in the middle of the foot without leaning too far forward or too far back. So let's try to take that into this last set and see if you can tighten up that contact with your feet. See how it feels. Oftentimes when we have a stronger foot contact, it helps us recruit everything more throughout our entire body, all our muscles, all the things, and less balance because we have a stronger contact. Oh, let's get it in. All right, so I'll give you guys 1 more minute to do your thing. One minute. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay. So take your time with it. Last set of deadlifts. Once you guys are done, if you are already done, you're standing around waiting for us, just grab yourself some water. Take some deep breaths. Ponder your life. We are going to start explaining the next part in about 30 seconds. So just hang tight. If you're still finishing up, then don't rush, okay? Take your time with it. We want a strong last 15 rep set. All of those reps count. Okay. All right, you guys, nice work. We are going to start to talk about the next part here. So finish up, grab some water once you're done. We are going to move on to the next superset. So this next one is a combination of one exercise that we did last week that was kind of new to us, which is our curtsy lunge. So the curtsy, we know what that is. We're going to do a curtsy lunge, which what that does is send this back leg out and over beyond that front leg, which gives us more recruitment and stretch throughout this glute, throughout this side. So it makes it a much more back side focused lunge than if I was just step back normally, or if I was to do like a front lunge or anything like that. So last week we did single deadlifts, 2 curtsy lunges. Today we're going to separate those two. So we're going to do our curtsy lunges and superset it with an RDL, or that Romanian straight leg deadlift. So in terms of equipment, I'm going to be using my dumbbells. And I come at you guys in our second set with band options. If you are using a band, we have anchored band around opposite foot. You know the drill. So let's do this. Now what we're going to do, the kicker if you're using dumbbells, is we are going to front load our weights, holding them in front of us here, which we know makes things a lot harder on our shoulders, on our core, and on all things. So let's start our first set. We're going to step back into a lunge, and then again, bring this foot just beyond that one. We don't need to go too far. If we go too far, you're going to find this front knee wants to guide over to the side, but we want to make it so it sits right over top of that front foot. So we'll go through these. Now, because there is a little bit more balance involved, you might find you need to touch the floor between each one, and that's totally fine. But if you do want to make this a little bit harder, maybe you're working with body weight, we can drive up the knee at the top, which is going to help us make this harder because we're having to balance a little bit at the top there. So let's go through those, and we are doing 15 reps per side. Should have told you that at the beginning, but that's okay. So those of you with bands, we have bands, and then we'll go through that curtsy, remembering that if I was to have more than one band on here, it's going to be hard. Okay, so if you want to make it a bit more challenging, grab more than one band. All right, so we'll go through both sides. Both of them. Nice job, you guys. So if you have sensitive knees, this one, in theory, is completely fine and safe. But everyone's body is different, and you might find that this positioning, where we're kind of going over to the side, it might bug them, and that's completely fine. So what you're going to do instead is do something that does not bug them. Okay, maybe you go back into a normal lunge, maybe you don't sit so low in it. Whatever you got to do to not cause that sharp, pinchy pain is what you need to do, okay? So with this one, we're going to pair this with a straight leg deadlift. So I'm going to stand a bit more narrow on my feet. I will be holding dumbbells in front of me. For those of you with bands, what we're going to do is hold our bands sideways, like this, and we're going to do an overhead hip hinge. Now, I know this kind of seems a little different, but that's what you're going to do if you're using the bands. Dumbbells are going to be down in front of us here, soft knees, and then we just push the hips back. Hips back, hips back. And then as soon as the weights are below our knees, we pull the hips forward. And we're doing 15 reps of these ones. So I'm holding the weights down here. I'm getting that work in the back of my legs because I'm pushing my hips back. And then I'm pulling my hips forward. I'm not bringing my body down. Okay, we want to really focus on bringing our hips to the back wall behind us. And that's what's making that stretch. And then once you feel it, we can squeeze our way up, which is something I really want you guys thinking about. Now again, if you're using a band, we're doing this overhead hip hinge. And what this is doing, because we're holding the band over our head, we're getting a lot more recruitment through our upper back and our lower back muscles. So it's going to make this feel a lot more challenging than if I was to just hold the band down here, which is also another option. So if your shoulders are on absolute hot fire flames and you're not going to make it, you can bring them down here instead. 15 reps. Okay, so super high rep on these two. We're going to go same style, no rest in between, going through 3 more rounds of this stuff. So back to the first one, our curtsy lunges, 15 and 15. Whenever you guys are ready, let's do it. So I'll step back into the lunge. And again, I'm so sorry, we're front loaded. I got you. So we're holding the weights up here. Now for somebody, if you have a sensitive lower back, that might be like a little bit too much work in your core with the lunges and all that. So feel free to put the weights down. But ideally, we'll have them being held up here if we can. All right, so we'll get through this second set, both sides. Let's do it. Okay, so 15 and 15. And then once we're done, again, we're going into those RDLs, Romanian deadlift, straight leg deadlift. There's lots of different names for this one. But most importantly, what this is a hip hinge. All we're trying to do is hinge and move through one joint, which is our hips. So we want the knees to be soft because we don't want them locked out, because we never want our knees locked out. We want them soft like all of our joints anytime we're working out like this. So soft knees, shoulder blades together, core tight, and then we'll push the hips back, and then we squeeze up and out of it. So this is another one that you can think about, that foot contact. It's very common in this one to have the toes lift up or maybe the heels lift. I mean, one or the other, depending on which way you're shifting your weight. We'll try to really ground ourselves into the floor. Grab the floor with your feet. Yes, 15 of them. So this is definitely I want to say the most challenging superset, because so many reps. This almost feels like cardio. And if you're feeling that, if you feel like your heart rate is up really high, that's a good thing. That's kind of what I'm going for here, in more endurance style training. So suck it up. No, I'm just kidding. But you'll get through this. We'll get through this set, our last two. Little to no rest in between, unless you really need it. When you're done your straight leg deadlifts, then we can take a little bit of rest, but just enough to grab a sip of water and get ready again on these curtsy lunges with the glutes. So another preventative measure that you can take if you do have knees that are prone to being painful in exercises and such, this is also going to help us again get more work in the back of our leg rather than the front of our leg. Anytime we're lunging, doing anything, the more vertical your shin, the more upright your shin angle is, the safer it typically is on our knees and the more glute focused it is. So if I'm stepping back into this lunge and I have this position here and my body's coming forward to send my hips back, this is super safe on the knees because my knees aren't driving forward, which is typically when we start to feel that pain. The other thing is I'm able to push my hips back and get more stretch on the glutes, which means I'm going to use them more, because the more they're lengthened, the more that they're used to come out of that lengthened position. So by stepping back like this, I'm making it very safe, very glute focused. So that is that, as opposed to if I was to stay up and have my knee drive forward like this. First of all, my quads, the top of my legs are going to be on fire, because now by having that knee drive forward, that's what these guys do. They do that. So you're going to feel those a lot. You're also going to feel nothing back here, probably something in your lower back, and probably something in your knees because of that upright kind of arching position here. So we'll think about that on these next couple sets here. This curtsy lunge is driving our body forward and trying to keep that shin upright so that we're not having it come over top of our toe. And that's a safe thing. I mean, the knees over the toes, like, that's okay. It's not a bad thing that happens naturally in real life, but it will aggravate someone with pre-existing knee pain. All right, so let's take that into our next couple sets. Breathe in through them. I am going to give you guys about 3 minutes to finish up this part. And then we're going to move on. So we'll get these in final couple sets of them. And strong finish, 15 reps, feeling all of the things. All of the work in the back of the legs, the glutes, hamstrings. Oh yeah, right where we want it. Okay, good job, you guys. So please finish up strong here. I am going to give you 1 more minute before I shall start explaining the last part to lower body strength. And then we have a nice conditioning finisher. It's going to get us all hot and heavy. It takes us 12 minutes, which might be good news because 12-minute circuits are better than 16-minute circuits. And I don't know. We'll talk about that when we get there, though, which is after this next superset. So once you guys are done that, you can grab yourself some water. Keep your equipment close, as we will potentially be needing it for this last one. And the good news is that we are on a timer for this next part. So yay. It just means that you don't have to count, which is always nice. All right, so let me set this up here. We want 1 minute. Okay. So what we're going to do for this next part is have this timer, and it is going to be set for 1 minute on, 20 seconds off, which is going to be our transition time. And we are doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 sets. Yes, math, quick math. Okay, so this next part is going to take us 8 minutes, and then we're going to move on to the final part, the 12-minute conditioning finisher. So we got to get started here so that we can move on. We have 2 exercises that we're going to flip-flop in between, 60 seconds on, 20 seconds off, which is mostly just time for you to switch between them, maybe a little bit of rest. A wall sit is going to be the first one, and then we have pulsing lunges, which is going to be the second one. So we're going to start off with the wall sit, get this done for a minute, and then I will talk about these pulsing lunges on the 20 seconds in between. Now, if you don't have a wall to sit against, whether you just don't want to use a nice wall in your house, or maybe you just don't have a wall, instead we can hold ourselves a squat instead, okay? So you guys can sit up, ready to start, in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. It didn't beat, but that was a start. I'm sorry. That's okay though. Here we go. It will beat next time. I figured out why. So it seems to always be like random why it doesn't beep and it beeps, but oftentimes it's because my phone volume is not on. Makes sense. Okay, so we're holding this position 90 degrees of the knees, and you guys can't quite see me because I'm a plant there, but we want 90 degrees. We're sitting low, hands are away from the legs. You can hold the wall, stick them out in front of you, do whatever you want to do to get through this minute, which you have 25 seconds left of. You're holding the squat. We're trying to, again, the same thing, get down to 90 degrees. Burning legs. Now, for most of us, the 60 seconds is going to be pretty damn hard, okay? You will assess your situation in 10 when you are done, but until then, just hold. Hold, hold, hold. 3, 2, 1. All right, you guys can stand up, and we're going to come to the front of our mat and go into these pulsing back lunges. So we're going to step back, come all the way up, back down, and then into the next one. Now, if you're looking at this and you think that you want to add weights, feel free to hold them down by your sides here. If you are working with bands, you could hold bands in your hands, or let's just work with body weights. Try to get the leg down. We come all the way up and a little bit back, back down, and then we step up to the front. Okay, so this one definitely is I'll get it at the beginning. Like right now, you're like, okay, no problemo. In contrast to the wall sit at least. But now we're about halfway there. You guys have 30 seconds left. Is where you're gonna start to feel this creeping up on you. Again, not only just your legs on fire, but also maybe a little bit in your cardio, getting your heart rate up. Sneaky, 15 seconds left. So we'll keep working through these. And if you feel like this is kind of easy, if you're not holding weights, that's something that you can do on your next set or 2, because we have 2 more, and they start in 20 seconds is your second set. So take this rest right now. Breathe, rest. We're going to go into our second and third set, and then we are moving on to the last part. So wall sits, for those of you who find that this is easy, you are amazing. Wall sits for a minute are usually just hard no matter what. If you are wanting to make them a little harder, we can work with our toe lifts. So we lift up both of our feet. Or we've also done a lot of work with our leg extensions, which is another great option if you would like to make it a bit more challenging. Whew, but for most of us, again, we're good here, just holding. Because we have to hold for 30 more seconds. There it is. Good job, guys. Let's go. 20 seconds left. Breathe through this. This is certainly the kind of burn that we can work through. I know it's easier said than done, but you can do it. Just breathe 10 seconds. Take like 2 more deep breaths. Yes. 3, 2, 1. And peel yourself off of that wall. Good job, you guys. Okay, so we're going to go into our second set of these big pulse lunges. So take a deep breath. If you're holding weights, grab them in your hands. Standing hip width apart in front of our mat. Step back into the lunge, all the way up, down, and then into the next one. Balance. So all the way up. So same rules apply with the knee, with the vertical shin, with the hips back, with the chest down. Those things are going to help this become a lot safer in terms of our knees and also become a lot more glute focused if that is something that you want. If you want to work the back side more. We got 30 seconds left for you guys to really focus on driving those hips back off the bottom. Yes, let's do it. 20 seconds here. Yep. There it is. Okay, one more set after this, you guys. 10 seconds right here. One more on both sides. Take it slow. Top, bottom, switch, and you are resting. Good job. One more set. Yay, 3 sets. It's always so rare. It's so nice when we do 3. Okay, so we're going to do our final set here. Back into that wall sit, the last set. We do this one first. We can get it over with, and it starts in 5 seconds. So come get yourself set up, and let's go into this wall sit. So hands away from the legs. That's probably the most common way to cheat in this one, is to have your hands on your thighs or to have your hips kind of lifted up like this. You can't really see me, so I'll go back over here. But another thing that happens is 90 degrees is what we want, but this can happen with the feet out too far, and this makes it feel really easy. It's almost like I'm doing this, just like leaning up against the wall. So we want to make sure to walk those feet in. Oh, and I know that's just very uncomfortable, but you have 20 seconds left to just feel it. Just feel that. You can do it. 10 seconds, you guys. Breathe. Take 2 more deep breaths, and you will be there, and you will be done this one. Ooh. 3, 2, 1. Time. Nice job. Okay. Okay. Last one, the pulsing lunges, and then we're going to take a nice minute of rest before we start the final part. Do we have time to even rest for a minute? Oh, we do. Oh, we do. All right. You ready for this? Here we go. Ready or not, let's do it. So we pulse and switch. And we're going through these ones, taking our sweet time. The goal is to not get as many of these in. We want them done properly. We want them done with control. Which usually makes us feel a lot harder. If you do that full pulse and go all the way up, we really want to avoid just this little at the bottom. We want the full-on pulse. 20 more seconds of this. Good work, you guys. Let's do this. Do it. 10 more seconds. You have this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And rest. and time and walk it off. Nice work, you guys. Okay, so we are going to take a minute right now and just rest. And we're going to start our next part in about 2 minutes. So don't go too far, but you do have 1 full minute to yourself right now. Just rest and grab some water, in my case coffee, and then we are going to start explaining the last part, which I already set the timer for. Okay. All right, you guys. So we are going to do this thing. Next part and last part takes us 12 minutes to get through. We have 3 exercises. We're going to do 4 rounds of them, 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off. So this is quite a standard interval time that we follow. We've been here before. And when we do this 40-20 interval, this is not the most challenging interval. We're working for double the amount of time that we're resting. Now, for some of us, we're going to get a lot more out of this if we don't take that 20 seconds of rest and we just do 60 seconds per exercise. That being said, some of these exercises are going to be more beneficial if you push yourself within that 40 seconds and rest for the 20. So I'm telling you all of this stuff because I want you to be your own judge, because I want you to get the most out of this workout. And if you're someone who can't push yourself, like let's say, you want to push yourself for the 40 seconds, but you simply just can't, you have to stop and start and stop and start, you might get more out of just stop and starting for that entire 60 seconds over doing the 40 and then completely resting for 20. Whereas someone like me, I like to get her done and I like to just do it and do it all the way. So I will go as hard as I can for 40 seconds and literally earn and need my rest for 20. So that is ideal, but I just understand that that doesn't work for everyone, and it's hard to do when I'm not right beside you, forcing you into all this stuff. You can really do whatever you want, and I know you guys will, but I want to remind you that we don't want to waste our time in here. So that's something that I want to talk about today on these 3. And I wanted to, now it's done, so we're going to move on and show you them. So this first one we're going to do is going to be our heel tapping squat jumps. So we're going to jump up and tap our heels at the top. Now, this is 40 seconds of this fun stuff. So we're going to talk about all sorts of ways that you can modify this, make it easier, low impact, not jump, all the things. And then I will show you the other 2 on this timer. If you are going to follow through the 20 seconds, then you just got to kind of watch over here on that 20 when I'm explaining. Okay, are you ready? Are you set? All right, starting in 3, 2, 1, here we go. Nice starting beat. Now if you're low impact, you're going to squat and tap this heel in like so, and try to move quickly. We have the arms helping us rather than us jumping and tapping our heels like this. Whew. So we're going through this. You guys have 20 seconds left. So remember what I said. Ideally, I want you to push yourself so damn hard right now that you have to actually stop. If you're not quite feeling like that, then maybe let's just work through that 20 seconds of rest so that you get the most out of this. Maybe. And rest. Okay. Second one is a full-on burpee, my friends. We're going to go down, chest to the floor. Technically starting in 10 seconds. You guys want to watch me here. Hands down, chest to the floor, feet in, and then we jump up. If you're low impact, we're going to step out, step in, and then stand up. If you are push up, out, if you're going to be more efficient doing these without the push-up, feel free to do an athletic style burpee rather than chest to the floor. But you guys know, and I know, and we know that the chest to the floor is way damn harder. Okay, so it's what I want, but if I only get an athletic, that's totally fine as long as you don't stop. The next 10 seconds at least. So let's go. 3, 2, 1. Good job, you guys. Okay. Last one, we're going to do, if you see this coming, lateral ski hops. So we're going to be in this narrow stance in our feet. We want hips back, so we're in more of a deadlift position. And then I'm going to jump 2 feet at a time. 2 feet land and 2 feet leave. And this one's not so much about getting low in a squat as those squat jumps that we actually did. The goal in this one is to have both of our feet leave at the same time. Now, if you're low impact, you can just squat walk sideways like this, or if you want to do some fast feet side to side, little cha-cha dance, you got 20 seconds. So let's do it. Oh yeah. So yeah, now you're probably thinking in the back of your head like 40 seconds is good, and that's totally fine. Okay, but I do always want to bring up that topic and option, 20 seconds of rest. Okay, so I already told you guys this, but I'll remind you that we are doing 3 more sets. And then we're done for the day, for the week, until next week, until Monday. But that's okay. Got 2 days off. You guys ready? All right, ready enough? Let's do it. So we're trying to tap those heels in the air, landing as soft as possible. Whew. And yes, legs, they burn, I know. At any point, if you're not going to make it, if your legs are literally not going to make it, what you can do is simply not sit so low. You can even be like up here rather than all the way down there. And that's going to make a huge difference on how able you are to do this for 10 more seconds. Woo! Good job, guys. 3, 2, 1. Rest. Rest. Okay. Burpees. I mean, they had to come in at some point this week, right? Best for last. Okay, so we're gonna get you guys started in 3, 2, 1, and here we go. So we'll try to get through as many of these as we can, but definitely moving the entire time. 2 more seconds at least, we need you doing something. Whether it's low impact, stepping in, stepping out, halfway. Good job, you guys. We got this. 10 seconds left. There it is. 3, 2, 1. Yes. Good job, you guys. Ooh, we don't do full burpees often, but when we do, although they've been making a weekly appearance in our programs lately. Okay, so we're going into our lateral ski hops. Now, important, if you're jumping, that 2 feet leave and land at the same time. We don't want to have like a side hop situation going on. We want the 2 feet and the 2 feet. And I'm using my arms to help my body gain some momentum. You really want to challenge yourself on this one. Of course, getting lower will help that, but also thinking about fully extending between each of your reps. That's going to make this a lot more challenging than if we're just kind of hopping down here like this. Whereas if I actually get my body straight, 10 more seconds. Boop, boop, boop. 3, 2, 1. Nice work, you guys. Okay. We're halfway there. I know, but we got this. We can do this. 2 more sets, and we're going to be done. And there's literally 7 minutes till 9. So definitely going to be done before then. I think our timer has 6 minutes left. All right, let's go. 3rd set. Going through these ones. Ooh, pacing ourselves. I know your legs are tired. So if they're not going to make it, do something to make yourself able to keep going. 20 more seconds. Oh, yeah. Let's do this. Finishing real strong. 5, 3, 2, 1. Oh, nice. Good job, you guys. All right. Burpees. Second last set, though. So that's good news. You only have to do this one. 1 more. I'm done. You can get back on with your day or start your day or whatever you're doing in your day. 3, 2, 1, and let's go. So again, low impact. We step and step, push up verbally, step and step, and then stand and raise the roof because you're so excited about doing burpees. Maybe not, but that's okay. 20 seconds left. We got this. So especially now, this set, on your next one, remember that it's very important that you don't stop, okay? Not until you hear the time that tells you can stop, which is now. You can stop for 20 seconds. Good job, you guys. Okay, here's the lateral hops. One more round. Yes, we're done. Okay, so take some deep breaths because we know we're gonna need them to get through this. Move over to one side, get yourself into formation, and let's go. So we'll think about, again, more hops, smaller distance, smaller sideways movement. The more of them, if we can. Let's do this. Good job, you guys. Come on now, 15 seconds left. We so got this. Let's go, let's go, let's go. 5, 3, 2, 1, time. Okay. Ooh. Walk it off. Quick sip of water. Get yourself mentally prepared to do your final set. Final circuit, final round, last workout of the week. Let's finish it strong. A little stronger than we want to. Make yourselves a little bit uncomfortable, but that's okay, because that is why we are here, so that we can do that. Let's do it. Let's go. 30 seconds left, you guys. This is it on this one. So last time you have to do this one. No more squat jumps this week. Woohoo! But let's finish them up right now. 15 seconds left. We'll try to get at least 10 more. You have to hustle for those though. Yes, I know. Let's go. Come on. 3, 2, 1. Nice. Okay. Okay. Burpees. Ski hops. Fin. Good news. All right. So you guys have a 40-second period to get these, but see if we can get 10 burpees in, okay? See if we can do it. Ready? 3, 2, here we go. See if you can get 10 of these in, whether it's, again, chest to the floor, ideally. You're not going to make it with that push-up. Just do athletic and keep going, because that's the most important part, is that you don't stop. 20 more seconds. So you guys are halfway there. Yeah, this is really hard to get 10 in this amount of time. I know, but it's possible, but it's really hard. You can't slow down. 10 seconds left. Come on, you guys, you have this. Give me those last 2. 3, let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Ooh, nice job. Okay, ski hops and done. If you're working through, keep going 10 more seconds. All right, get ready to start in 5 seconds. Come on over here. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Last set, last one. Taking these hops 2 feet at a time for the next 30 seconds. And then we are there. We can stop hopping around and walk it off for the final time. But 20 more seconds. We need you here. Focus. Doing this with everything that you have. Arms, legs, and maybe jumping a little higher than you want, going a little faster than you want. 10 seconds left though. You can do this. Don't give up. Not till you hear this beep, which I'm going to leave this running too. Nice work, you guys. So if any of you out there are working through that last 20, we're going to hear the activity completed prompt when that 20 seconds is done. If you are done, walk it off, you guys. Good job. That was really hard, and I know that because I wrote it up and I've done it.
Activity
and there
completed.
it is. Good job. So we're going to take the next minute or 2 here to just rest, recover, grab some water, as we always do. I'm going to leave you guys with a couple of stretches, which I'm just going to show you today. So you're going to have to do these on your own. Starting off actually with our upper body, because when we're walking around here, we might as well utilize our time and start our stretch. We can start off with the one that helps us promote good posture, which is something that most of all of us think about. I definitely do. You guys already know that. So that's going to be this one. So if that is not working for you, to interlace, you just put your hands behind your back. And again, this is one that you can do while you're still letting your heart rate come down, while you're still moving around. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1, a little efficient. If you would want to take this a little deeper, you could go into this one, this chest stretch. But you can start off just with this one, do the leg ones first, and then if you still have time, you can finish off with a bit more, because again, it just helps our posture. So important things to stretch are your butt, your glutes, the back of your hips. Lots of ways we can do that. My favorite way is this one, specifically with this back foot here up against a wall. So if you have a wall available to put your foot on, you can do that. If not, you can just reach in and hold it here. You might also even just feel the stretch with your foot on the floor here. So we'll hold this for 60 seconds per side. It's going to be the first one. And again, you guys have to do this on your own time. So when I'm going to sign off here, you can just get out your timer. If you want to start holding right now, that's fine. But you're most likely still recovering from that crazy stuff we just did. So do your glutes. And then the last one is going to be your hamstrings. So you guys can sit up into this position, nice and tall. And then we can round forward and stretch out the hamstrings and the lower back. So these two are what I would suggest. Anything else you guys want to do, maybe you're rotating bow and arrow, the one we did yesterday if you guys were here, or calves, whatever it is, please feel free to do so. But you guys are done with me. Another week of awesome training in the books. Hopefully you guys are feeling good, feeling strong, but challenged. Thank you for all showing up this week, for me, for yourselves. And we will be back next week with another week of workouts starting on Monday. So hopefully you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you guys soon. Bye. Have a good one. Good job, you guys. Bye.